those guys were headed back up to go back up north and do something up there, and they changed their mind and said, we're going to Fort Mims. So they went to Fort Mims, and then that happened. Well, what did that lead to? That led to the Creek War of 1813-14. That led to General Andrew Jackson and others becoming involved. And the Creek War went over into 1814 and lasted about a year, a little under a year. And what did that lead to? Treaty of Fort Jackson, 1814. That led to 23 million acres of land. This huge thing called the Creek Nation. Most of it was taken by General Andrew Jackson. By 1832, all of the Creek Nation, which used to be all of Alabama, most of Georgia, and some of the Florida Panhandle, is gone. And what happens around the 1830s? The Trail of Tears. Now, you know, there's something else a lot of people don't think of, is the fact that when all of this was occurring and all of this land was taken from the Creeks, one of the results of that was this thing we call Dixie, the Old South, King Cotton. Guess where most of that land came from? This time we're talking about. See how one thing leads to another? And so by 1835, most of the Creeks are headed out west. All the land is gone that belonged to the Creeks and the Creek Nation. And all these non-Indian people are moving in and doing what? Planting cotton and making this agricultural. We're talking 1830. And y'all, by 1860, 1861, that's not that long, is it? What's happening then? The American Civil War. And I always like to say this about history. There's several old quotes about history. Sometimes it says that one thing that history teaches us is that mankind learns nothing from history. And I think, sadly enough, that's true sometimes. Right? But there's also a saying that says that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Now, did these guys have any idea on September the 27th that this little skirmish out here in this place called Burnt Corn Creek, did they have any idea that was going to be one of the dominoes that fell that led to all these other things that we're talking about? No, if we had hindsight, we'd be a lot better off, wouldn't we? But we have to learn the hard way, don't we? So we're here today. We're here today to commemorate that. We're not trying to reenact, but there's not enough of us to reenact it exactly how it happened. We don't dress up, you know, this is my idea of fun. I like doing this. I like dressing up this way because I like people to see and know what we look like back here. These guys back here, I respect all of them because they all are representing a time of history. You know, history is not just facts and figures. History is a human drama. So when you look at us, guess what? This is how people dressed back then. That's the kind of guns. We didn't have machine guns. That's the kind of guns we had. And this is how we dress. This is how Indian people dress. These are Indian clothes. So understand, in this thing that we call history, it's a human drama. It's a human drama, and that's what this is all about. It's to help you maybe get a little bit of understanding of what people look like, what this was really like, how human beings were. Why did people do what they did? That for me is the big mystery when I study history, right? Last thing I want to tell you is this. I have to say this from an Indian perspective. I'm 1/4 Forge Creek Indian, and guess what? My family was both hostile Creek and friendly Creek. On both sides. When Fort Mims happened, I had people inside the fort and outside the fort. That's why I wear this. I wear this because I am a descendant of both sides. And I wanted y'all to understand this. Starting with this situation here, and not even starting there, even further back than that, but largely starting with this situation here at Burnt Corn and on to Fort Mims. Do you realize that before all this happened, how you were determined to be Creek is not what you look like? Because I know I don't look Indian. I don't. People say, you Indian? Yeah. And back in my day, back in these days, there were a lot of us that were already mixed blood. What determined whether you were Creek or not was who your mama was, and what clan she was from, and what town she was from. That's what determined whether you were Creek. Do you realize as we start getting into this time, when the hostilities start to happen between our own people, all of a sudden, it's no matter who your mama is and what clan she's from and what town, now it's are you friendly or are you hostile? And in some cases, just like in the American Civil War, in some cases there could have been brothers, right? He could have been my brother. He could have been decided to be friendly and I'm hostile. So all of these events that happened literally ripped apart the fabric of who we were, our identity and everything. And it had a devastating effect on the Creek people. And I just wanted y'all to realize that, know that. You know, when we talk about these things, there were some serious consequences of what happened. What we're commemorating today and the events that happened out there, there's some very, very serious consequences of that. And all I can say is this, there's an old saying, Abraham Lincoln quoted it during the Civil War. He said, a house divided against itself, what? Will not stand, right? I belong to an Indian group called USET, United Southeastern Troops. I share their Culture and Heritage Committee, and our motto is there is strength in unity. And I do believe in that. I do believe, hey, you know, could anything like this ever happen again one day? You never know. You never know. It might not be Indians. It might be another group or another group. But hey, let's do one thing. Let's remember what happened. Let's remember that. Let's realize how important it was. And let's try to strive to not let this happen and repeat again. Huh? Right? Okay? All right, thank y'all for your attention. And we'll get started with our other situation.